What this is not a strategy, although you will ultimately learn to use them more effectively. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme, although that may happen. This is not complicated. It is in fact easy and enjoyable. What you will learn is child's play compared to the way most people are living. What we're going to cover: the game of life, the two types of people who play the game, how the game works, how to evaluate your progress in the game, and how to win the game of life easily and consistently. So the game of life has one playing field, planet Earth. It has one experience, which is the gift of life itself. It has one set of laws that govern, which we'll call the operating system. There's one way to create, and we'll call that how to use the operating system. You've got one most valuable asset per person, which is your mind, and there's two types of people, or two approaches to the game. The two types of people: the realist. The realist worries about the economy, business and work, worries about not having enough money, works hard and borrows money to survive, struggles to keep up with changes in the world, jumps from one get-rich-quick plan to the next without any measurable success. Then we have the imaginist, who sets goals and has a plan, understands the rules of the game and uses them to his or her advantage, is detached and confident in any situation, attracts the perfect personal economy and circumstances in any external environment. In this slide, called the playing field, living in the game, what I want to show you is the varying states of consciousness, the levels of mind that people experience. So this slide really comprises how we live our lives. So at the top here we have daily life, and this is the beta brainwave state. It's 13 and upward hertz per minute. This is the place where most people live most of their waking lives. Underneath that we have the alpha state, which is 8 to 12 hertz, and this is where our programming is contained. I'm wealthy, I'm poor, I'm fat, I'm thin, etc. All the different programs that we use to operate in this conscious waking state. Below that is the theta level, and this is what the mystics aspire to gain access to. The theta level is where mystical experiences are encountered, and then below that is the delta level, which is generally the level of sleep. It's a restorative level. It's where our body heals itself, and I'll explain a few more things about the delta level as we move forward, and that is 0.1 to 3 hertz. Now underneath that is our connection to what people would call the universal mind, or Wallace Wattles from The Science of Getting Rich calls it the thinking stuff. It's also referred to as creative intelligence or source energy or the God force, and you can also think of it as the universal catalogue of gifted available experiences. So this is the heart of all things, the universal mind, and we are connected to the universal mind through varying different levels of consciousness. So we have our daily life where we live, and we have our programming here, and then we have the other levels of mind, which are alpha, theta and delta. Now if you look in the middle of this slide, you'll see a little stick man, and you'll see that the stick man has a conscious mind and an unconscious mind. So the conscious mind is where the stick man lives. This is where people spend their lives. And then the unconscious mind is all of these levels down here, right the way through to the universal mind. So when we're consciously living, we're pulling programs from this alpha state, the upper region of the alpha state, which is in the unconscious mind, and then we're using those programs to operate in daily life. So person gets up in the morning, decides to clean their teeth, dips down here into the alpha state of mind, and pulls out the how to clean your teeth programming and then operates that in daily life. Then they sit down and they dip in and they have the breakfast programming and they eat breakfast. Then they get ready for work and then they get on the train or get in their car and they pull out the driving program and they pull that back into consciousness. So if we want to make changes in the way that we have our relationship to money, we have to get underneath this level of programming. And this is a region that most people don't get into their whole lives, apart from when they're asleep. So we need to get down underneath the programming into the alpha state, or the theta, or the delta, and we need to reprogram our minds and put new programs in here, which, if you can see, there's an X through one of the old programs, which will cancel out or override the old programs and bring a new money experience into our daily life. So we're looking to put new money programming in here, and then we're looking to reflect that out into daily life. So you can see that daily life is an outward focus, and then programming and spiritual experiences, etc., are an inward focus. Now, the unconscious mind, everybody's unconscious mind, whilst they are sleeping, takes this programming, and you can see these are highlighted, so it's like a little orange circle and it's got some energy coming off it. So your unconscious mind takes the most energized programs in your consciousness, in your unconscious mind and your consciousness, and then it sends those to the universal mind, which then sends them back to that person as experiences to be lived in daily life. So if a person has an energized lack of money, that energized lack of money every night during sleep will be sent down into the universal mind, which will send it back up into consciousness to be lived the next day. So our lives are governed by these energized memories and these energized states of this energized programs. So all of these programs in here, all of these energized programs, and it contains all of our programs, but it's the energized ones which have the power to pull the reality that we experience from the universal mind so that we can experience it. And I'll talk more about this in the coming slides. Okay, moving on to the next slide. So how we show up in the world is based on our programming. Rich or poor, fat or thin, employed or unemployed, happy or sad, healthy and energetic or sick and tired, all of this is created by our programming. The stories we tell ourselves, the beliefs we have, the memories we have, money programs, money beliefs, money memories, and importantly money talk and money feelings, which are the clue. So money talk and money feelings are the clue. Now the creative process, and there's only one creative process available, which we're calling the operating system, works like this. Our unconscious mind selects a combination of emotionally charged experiences from our programming, which is our current way of living, and our unconscious mind communicates them to the universe because it thinks that this is what we want, and then these are projected out by the universe into the present, or what we call the present. It's sent beforehand to us during sleep so that we can experience it the next day, and it shows up as our physical reality that we perceive and experience and live. So what's happening is the programs are taken from this region here. Our unconscious mind loves us and it thinks this is what we want because we've energized it. It sends it to the universal mind, and then when we wake up the next morning, it sends it back again. And if you've ever seen that movie with Bill Murray in called Groundhog Day, that's a really good example of how this works. In the movie, Bill Murray turns up in a town for something called Groundhog Day, but he gets stuck there. and he can't get out of the town. So he's stuck in this town, and he keeps waking up in the morning, and he keeps living exactly the same day over and over again, to the point where he sees the same people, he says the same things, and they all say the same things. And it continues on until such a point that he realizes that he has got to change the way that he interacts with the world. When he does change the way that he interacts with the world, he changes his inner programming, and then the movie goes on, and he eventually manages to get out of the town by changing the way he interacts in life. So the creative process, the operating system, when we live that experience and we evaluate it and we decide on what changes to make that we want and desire to experience, then for the realist, they would in sleep, in a deeper level of consciousness, recreate the sameness, the same experience that I just described about Groundhog Day, and they send it back into the present, so it is pre-sent back to us to experience the next day. But the Imaginatist looks at this in a different way. The Imaginist consciously, in deeper levels of consciousness, including taking advantage of sleep time, reprograms in the alpha state, the theta state, and the delta state. The Imaginist reprograms a new present, a new present, a new now, a new daily life. The Imaginatist does this on the fly during the course of the day. The Imaginist does this while they're sleeping. So it's a choice. They choose to reprogram, as opposed to the realist, who literally just experiences the same old thing day in, day out, day in, day out. So back to the playing field. What's happening? I've explained it before, but I think it's worth going over this again so you can really understand it. The energized programs that a person has in their mind, the unconscious mind of that person who loves them dearly, because they're energized and highlighted, sends them to the universal mind. Universal mind says, okay, that's what this person wants, and sends it back again to them to experience in daily life. Okay. So the results evaluation process. So daily life is an experience, and we have two tools of evaluation. One is observation, and two is self-observation. So observation is the macro, or the big picture. We get up in the morning, and where do I live? How is my home? Do I like my house? Do I like my neighborhood? Is my room a mess? Is my house a mess? Is my garden a mess? Or is it beautiful? Is it just the way I want it? What is my job? Oh no, do I have to go to work again? Or can't wait, off to do what I love doing. How much money do I have? Person opens their wallet, person opens their purse, they have a look inside. Oh my God, I don't have much money at all. How am I going to get through the day? They walk to the front door, there's a load of bills. Or they get up and their wallet is stuffed full and they walk out the front door. How are my relationships? How's my personal relationships with my spouse, my partner, my children, my family? How are my relationships with my co-workers? How am I showing up in the world? So observation is an external reference. Okay? Self-observation is the inner relationship. Not only do we observe the external, but also how we feel about it, how we act in it, how we react to it. So if a person's driving down the street and they're in a traffic jam, are they sitting there feeling good about themselves, feeling good about their lives? They know the traffic's going to part and they're going to have a clear path right the way to the office? Or are they honking on their horn and get out of the way and getting stressed out and angry and pulling more of those experiences to them? Self-observation is a foundation stone of all Eastern philosophies, and it's the starting point for self-change. Because until the point where you can observe yourself and see what you are doing, then you won't know what it is that you want to change. Now, most people go through life on autopilot, unconsciously. Their programs run them. They go from one program to the next program to the next program. So they go from Big Macs and McDonald's back to the office, Coca-Colas, down to the pub after work, loads of beer, get home, watch the television, input some more garbage from the television, some more news, go to sleep. Unconscious mind thinks, hey, this is what this guy wants or this girl wants, let's give them some more. So the universe, the unconscious mind sends it to the universe sends it back out, they get up next day. So it's an unconscious way of living. They literally just have all these programs running and running them. Now, self-observation is when you begin to wake up. You look at your life, you walk into McDonald's and you go, hey, hang on a minute, maybe I'm going to go and have a salad today. You go to the office, instead of a Coca-Cola, you have a glass of water. After work, instead of the pub, you go to the gym. And after the gym, you come home and you do a meditation and you read a book. And then the next day when you get up, your unconscious mind takes all of that, it's been energized, you're feeling good about it, you're putting good emotion into it. Unconscious mind sends that to the universe. Universe says, hey, let's send that back. The next day that person gets up, life becomes easier. And it becomes easier bit by bit, little by little, day by day. When a person's observing themselves and working on themselves, their life becomes easier. So self-observation is a foundation stone of all Eastern philosophies and is the starting point for self-change. Self-observation reveals to us the programs that are running in our minds and creating our experiences, and provides signposts to guide what to change and modify. So the programming language of our mind. We all have a mind and it's all programmed in the same way. And the way we program either what we want or what we don't want is by the use of our imagination. So some people go through life imagining all the horror stories, all the stuff that they don't want, and that gets programmed. Other people go through life, they use their imagination, they think about, energize, focus on, and program in the stuff that they do want, and then that becomes their new programming. So creative use of the imagination is called visualization, sometimes referred to as visualization, or creating imaginary experiences. Children are very good at this. You can learn from children. Now, this is the way that we communicate with our unconscious minds and thus with the universe. It's a way of seeing, feeling, hearing the things as we want them to be, not as they are. Remember, daily life is literally an opportunity to observe what's happening, what have I created. Imagination is a way to see it as we want it to be, not as we're actually observing it. So by creating an imaginary experience of how we want things to be, and by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, we are expressing a desire. We're attaching significance and energy to something that we want to experience. The desire which we imagine and attach emotion to is prioritized as a command and programs instructions to our unconscious minds of the new reality that we would like to experience. This is stored in the unconscious mind and transmitted to the universe to be co-created and projected back to us to experience as our new now. It is pre-sent. That's why it's called the present. Your life is pre-sent to you by the universe. You ask and you receive. You either ask consciously or unconsciously. So here's the illustration again, and it's good to have a little picture to look at. We create our imaginary experience in alpha, theta, delta levels. Okay, so we imagine what it is that we want to experience. We close our eyes, and you can see these arrows. We go within. There's only one way to change your life, and that is to go within. If you fail to go within, you will go without. So you need to go within. You need to get down into the alpha, the theta states, and even into delta, and program what it is into your unconscious mind. Stick it in here, stick it in your programming level as a new energized memory, because your unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what it sees in daily life and what you imagine in your mind. So you stick your new memory in here. Because it's prioritized, your unconscious mind thinks, wow, this is great, sends it to the universe. Universe goes, this is what this person wants, sends it back out into the pre-sent, and we experience it as daily life. Qualities of an imaginary experience for creating a new reality. Now, it should imply that the desire has been fulfilled. It's what you would experience if you'd already got what you wanted to have. So if you wanted a new car, what would you feel like if you were actually driving it? What would you feel like if it was sitting on your driveway and you looked out of the window and then you went out and took it for a drive? Now, it should also contain sensory vividness, pictures, images, touch, sounds, smells and tastes. And I want to qualify that. When you start off, you take what you get in terms of an imaginary experience and you build on it. And there's ways that I'm going to teach you how to build on your imaginary experiences and how to improve them. So when most people start imagining, they close their eyes and they say, hey, all I see is black. That's just an impression. That's what, when your eyes are closed, you're not getting any sensory data in through your eyes, which is where you're used to receiving it. What you want to do is you want to shift your focus into your mind, into your inner world, and then the pictures will become more clear. And in the course, I'm going to show you how to build on that and how to make it better and better day by day. And your unconscious mind absolutely is going to get it, and it's going to help you, and it's going to know what you want, and it's going to give you more of what you want, and then you're going to continue to improve that and improve that. It doesn't have to be fantastic, and I'll just give you a quick idea. I created a stay in a villa, and all I did was I imagined when I went to sleep at night, I imagined sleeping in a bed, and I was in a beautiful room and it was beautiful sheets and I could feel what that was like. And outside the doors of my room was a swimming pool, and I had an idea in my mind of what that swimming pool was like. I had memories of swimming pools, so I knew what a swimming pool looked like. I had good feelings about swimming pools, so I knew what it felt like. I had good feelings about hotel rooms, so my unconscious mind already had a huge amount of resources to pull from, and so does your unconscious mind. And your unconscious mind is going to start pulling stuff out of your memory, out of your unconscious mind, and giving it to you, and then you're going to give your unconscious mind feedback on how to improve the experience. So I did this night after night. I slept in a beautiful bedroom, beautiful villa. Outside the room was a pool. One day I'm sitting at a cafe, and the owner of the cafe comes up to me and he says, hey, I hear you're a writer. And I said, yeah, I write. And he said, well, look, I've got some villas and I've got a website, and I'd like someone to write a story about the villas. Would you like to come and stay in my villas? And so I said, yeah, for sure. And he took me around to see his villas, and my actual stay didn't take place for about I think it was 3 weeks to a month after that, because he was fully booked. And he showed me the villas, and they were pretty amazing. When I went round to see them, he said, look, we've got 2 villas which are free. And he said, one's a big one and one's a small one. He said, I've selected this big one for you to stay in. And he took me to see this villa, and I walked into it, and it was incredible. One of the rooms of the villa was situated literally on the edge of a swimming pool. So when I went to bed that night, I slept in a bed, and at the foot of my bed was a swimming pool. And when I got up in the morning, I just walked over to the door, jumped about 6 inches straight into the pool. So your unconscious mind gets this. It knows what you want to create, and the idea is to just start to build on it. Don't think that you've got to create some complicated imaginary experience. The more sensory vividness you can add, the better, because what you're doing is you're becoming more clear, you're becoming more focused. Your unconscious mind is narrowing it down to exactly what you want. It's the difference between saying, I would like a Porsche and I would like a car. So when you look at a Porsche, you start to notice things about it. You start to build up that image in your mind, and you do it bit by bit. So this is a progressive training. The next thing, which is really, really, really important in your imaginary experiences, is emotional content. It's the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Neville Goddard says feeling is the secret, and feeling definitely is the secret. The emotions of joy, happiness, laughter, smiling, feeling good, feeling healthy, feeling fit, if you can put those into your imaginary experiences, and I'll show you ways that your unconscious mind can pull on memories to get those feelings, then that is what is going to give it the turbocharger, because feeling really is the secret. So you get very clear about what it is that you want, and you put the feeling into it, and then you enter into the image, into the picture, and it should be impressed upon the unconscious mind in a way that the unconscious mind understands, an altered state, an inner focus, an inner awareness. So you take your consciousness out of the physical reality that you're sitting in, the room that you're sitting in, wherever it is that you're doing your imaginary experiences, and you take your consciousness inside, and then you take your consciousness where you want to go, and you tell your unconscious mind, this is where I want to go. Now, here's the truth of the creative process. There is only one creative process available to mankind. Okay, many people think there's many different ways, but there's only one way, and it's imagination. It is in fact co-creative. We ask, that's our job. Esther Hicks talks about this. We ask using our imagination, and then we receive what the universe lovingly gives us. Now, both the realist and the imaginist use the very same creative process, but with extremely different results. It's impossible to ignore this creative process, as it's working whether you want it to or not. The only thing constant in life is change. Okay, so you can't ignore this. You can't ignore using your imagination. You're imagining 24 hours a day. The process is in operation 24 hours a day, your entire life. And for a successful and happy and joyful life, it must be mastered. This is the game of life. This is why we're here. This is what we're playing. The game of life. So if you ignore using your imagination to create what you want, by default you're using your imagination and your energized memories and programs in your unconscious mind to create what you don't want, because those old programs and memories keep coming back energized, and you keep living them day in and day out, and you keep imagining what you don't want. So far better to start imagining what you do want. Start imagining the kind of life that you want to have, and start creating these imaginary experiences and impressing these imaginary experiences into your unconscious mind and into the universe, so that you can get the kind of life that you want and you know you deserve. So the key to making this work: many people understand visualization. They've heard about it, and perhaps they've tried it with very few results. The secret to visualization, the absolute secret to visualization, is to abandon yourself to the imaginary experience, to fully enter into the state and be in that experience. Hence the word being. Be in that experience. So you've got to close your mind to the world. You've got to shut out the daily life, the outside world, and this is why we have these lower brainwave states, so that we can slow our minds down, slow our thinking down, get rid of all of the distractions, and we can go within and we can create that new experience. We can fully enter into that new experience. And it's the difference of thinking of what you want versus thinking from what you want. And I'm going to explain this in detail on the next slide. So the key to making this work, if you take a moment now and think of your favorite holiday destination, then you're thinking of it. If you think about your favorite car, you're thinking of it. If you think about the kind of house you want to own, you're thinking of it. And you can play along with this. You can close your eyes right now and imagine this, or you can just keep your eyes open and continue watching the video. But if you close your eyes now and imagine being in the holiday destination. So imagine sitting at a favorite restaurant of yours, hearing, that's sensory vividness, the music, smelling, sensory vividness, the food, seeing the food, tasting a glass of wine, feeling the warmth of air on your skin, the tropical climate perhaps, or if you're in a ski resort, the chill of the ski resort, looking into your partner's eyes and holding their hand, you're touching them, you're feeling something, feeling calm and relaxed, happy and joyful, and without a care in the world. Now, if you closed your eyes and you went through that little experience there, and then you're thinking from what it is that you want. And there's a world of a difference. When you get to that point of really, truly feeling that you are there in consciousness, that is the creative moment. And when you come back into the room you're in and you open your eyes, you would momentarily be adjusting. Neville Goddard talks about it as if being shocked that you're actually in the room that you're in, because your imaginary experience seemed more real than where your body was, where you are. So it's the idea of taking your consciousness, taking your mind into an experience that you wish to experience, and being there in your mind as if you are actually there in your body. So you want to touch things, you want to smell things, you want to look at things, examine things. And that is the turbocharger. That is what is going to get you what you want. So the common experience, everyone thinks from where they actually are in their bodies. This is why life works for both the realist and the imaginist. Everyone thinks of what they would like to happen in life. A new car, new home, more money, better job, new house, whatever it is. Everyone thinks of. This is a desire. This is given to us. But the realist experiences life by default. And it's created by an unconscious programming mostly they don't know of and they wouldn't understand. Very little of what they want shows up. They experience the national and global consciousness and karma. So they go through, they watch television, they watch the movies, they read the magazines, the trashy magazines, they read the newspapers, they go to the office, they talk with other people, they attract in the daily life world this reflection of themselves, these other people, and they're just continually recreating the sameness. But for the imaginatist, the imaginist, life is the opportunity to savor the experience, the fruits of their inner work, because they used of and from in the right combinations. They decided what they wanted, what they desired, what they wished to experience, and thought of it. But then they went into their minds with an inward focus, and they thought from it. And because they were in that experience, thinking from the experience, from the imaginary experience, their unconscious mind energized that experience, took it as a command that this is what this person wants, sent it to the universe went, great, this is what this person wants, projected it back into the pre-sent, so the next day when the person wakes up, or perhaps it's a couple of months or a couple of weeks, or it depends, but the universe sends the combination of living experiences back at the right time, in the right way, just perfect for you, perfect for your life adventure, and it sends it as a gift. It is absolutely a gift, the gift of life. So just to go back and show you this picture again, you're programming into this level. Consciously you're choosing something, you're programming it into your unconscious in deeper states of consciousness. Your unconscious mind, which loves you truly, absolutely more than you know, sends it to the universe. The universe goes, great, sends it back to you. So summing up this section, we use our consciousness to create imaginary experiences that we would like to live in the physical world. We communicate them via our unconscious minds to the thinking stuff, the universe, source energy, God force, universal mind, whatever name you have for it, so that they can be selected for us and given to us in the now, which is the pre-sent as a gift or a present. What a wonderful world we live in. Doesn't the universe truly love us all? So the purpose of life from the universe's point of view. The purpose of life is joy, happiness, and a sensory-rich tapestry of wonderful experiences. That is what the universe wants for you. The method of life is mastery of mind, mastery of your mind. And the feeling of life is unconditional love for everyone, everything, every circumstance, everything you experience, joy, happiness, and a oneness, feeling like you're connected to the whole lot.